My stepmother uninvited me from her family Christmas because I am not blood. Today, my father arrived at my door with all his wrapped presents and suitcases and saying I finally figured out who my real family is. I never expected to spend Christmas crying happy tears at 28 years old, but here we are. My mom died when I was 14 and my dad remarried when I was 16. Vanessa has never been warm toward me, but she was never openly hostile, either just coolly distant. She has 2 daughters from a previous marriage who are now 25 and 23. For 12 years, I've spent holidays with this blended family, always feeling slightly out of place, but included because my dad insisted. 3 weeks ago, I received a text from Vanessa about Christmas plans. We're doing Christmas at my sister's lake house this year. It's going to be just blood family, my girls, my siblings, and their kids. You understand? I was stunned. I called my dad immediately, assuming he didn't know. His response broke something in me. Vanessa feels strongly about this being for her blood relatives. Maybe we can do our own Christmas the weekend after. This wasn't the father who had once threatened to cancel a business trip when my high school boyfriend broke up with me. This wasn't the dad who drove 5 hours to surprise me at my college graduation. This was a man I barely recognized. Dad, I am your blood relative, I said quietly. I am your only blood relative. The silence that followed was deafening. I know, sweetheart. Let me talk to Vanessa again. That conversation happened 3 weeks ago. Since then, my calls went to voicemail. My texts received brief, non-committal responses. I finally gave up and made plans with friends for Christmas Day. Then at 8 a.m. this morning, Christmas Eve, my doorbell rang. My father stood there surrounded by luggage and wrapped gifts, his eyes red-rimmed but determined. Can I come in? He asked. As I moved aside, he started bringing in his bags. I am going to need to stay for a few days, if that's okay. I've left Vanessa over coffee. The story emerged. After our call, he had confronted Vanessa about excluding me. She had doubled down, saying her family was uncomfortable, having non-family at such an intimate gathering. When he pointed out that he was also not blood family to her relatives, she said that was different. They had chosen to include him as her husband, and I chose to include Emily as my daughter, he had countered. The argument escalated over weeks, with Vanessa refusing to budge. It came to a head when she suggested that since I was grown and independent, he should focus more on being a stepfather to her daughters, who still need a father figure. That's when I realized what was happening, my dad said, his hands wrapped tightly around his mug. She wasn't just excluding you from Christmas, she was trying to erase you from our family entirely. He had packed his bags while she was out shopping. The note he left was simple. I am spending Christmas with my daughter. I didn't know what to say for years. I'd watched my father compromise pieces of himself and our relationship to keep his marriage stable. I'd convinced myself it was normal that I was being selfish for wanting more of his attention. I am so sorry, Emily, he said, his voice breaking. I've been a coward. I kept thinking if I just tried harder, Vanessa would eventually accept you, but I was wrong. I should have chosen you every time. My phone has been blowing up with texts from Vanessa and her daughters, alternating between guilt trips and angry accusations. I've ignored them all. Instead, Dad and I spent the day pulling out old family Christmas decorations from my storage unit, owns from before Mom died that I couldn't bear to use in my small apartment alone. We hung Mom's handmade ornaments on a hastily purchased tree and ordered Chinese food like we used to do on Christmas Eve when Mom worked night shifts tomorrow. We're having Christmas with just the 2 of us for the first time in 14 years. Dad doesn't know what comes next for his marriage, but tonight he said something that made me feel whole again. Family isn't who shares your holidays. Family is who you'd cancel your holidays for. Sometimes the best gifts don't come wrapped. They come in the form of someone